Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. Alright, so today's going to be a special video. We're going to jump into Time Machine and travel back all the way to, I think, either the late 90s or early 2000s. As we take a look at this, a couple of Tekken 3 action figures produced by Epoch. We have Jin Kazama and Paul Phoenix. Just to give you a heads up, this is a custom designed package that I did back in 2019. Alright, so the history of these action figures. Alright, so like I said, these came out a lifetime ago, either in the late 90s or early 2000s. I'm a huge video gamer, and especially when it comes to fighting games. I just love fighting games. Tekken 3 is kind of like my jam. And way back in the day when these figures came out, I thought they were the best things ever. So when it comes to my action figures, there's stuff I like to display, stuff I like to kind of like rotate and, sometimes put on display, but then maybe like 6 months later pull them down so I could put up something else. But these Tekken figures, for the longest time, once I put these on display, they always had a place in my collection. I just love them so much, just because they reminded me of the video game and my love for fighting games. Beautiful looking action figures. They're definitely a sign of, they're a product of their times. They're incredibly detailed, but the articulation isn't the greatest. That's how action figures were in the mid to late 90s and early 2000s. In terms of the box, I think this was originally maybe a Funko protector, but I think for like the more oddball sized Funko Pops, maybe for like the 2-packs. The nice thing with it, it was a thick plastic, so it's very durable. And I wanted something that would, be able to store 2 action figures. Because back in the day, you bought these solo carded, each individually. And I really wanted to display my figures, together to make it look like they were fighting each other. So I purchased this Funko Pop protector on Amazon. And then with my graphic design background, I designed, some nice graphic work for the front. We have the Tekken 3 logo, Namco, Jin versus Paul. And on one side, you have Jin. On the other, you have Paul. I kind of wish I used a better paper stock. This is this plain old copy paper, nothing fancy. Looking back now, I kind of wish I used a thicker, glossy cardstock. I think that looked a bit more professional. And on the back, I kind of cobbled the 2 images together. So you have Jin and Paul. So yeah, wonderful looking box that I did way back in the day. And I also gave it a hanger tab, so I can hang this on my wall right there. The little plastic thing fell off. All right, let's take a look at the figure. Or take a look at the figures. I apologize in advance. This review might not be as thorough as you'd like. So bear with me. And trying to open these thicker cases is kind of a chore because the plastic's so thick. And I don't know how easy it'll be to remove these action figures, because I think when I designed the box back in the day, I think my attitude was, once I put these in here, I'm never going to take them out. Alright, so this review might be very limited in terms of showing off the action figures. And then also included the display base for both figures inside of the box. So each figure came with its own display base. It's very similar to what you get with like a McFarlane DC figure nowadays. You have the Tekken 3 logo stamped onto it. And this is my custom box. Alright, so I am not going to remove the figures because I think I zip tied them down to the display. And the way I kind of rigged it up also is that you could take this out and you could display it without the outer packaging. And I love some of the design work in the marketing and advertising in Tekken, especially with the flame work with the red and blue flames. I love the contrast. And I used foam core for this, so it's very durable. And then here are the action figures. And if you're curious about the height, I want to say they're 6-inch scale, but I think on the larger side, with the figures being closer to 7 inches tall. And let's take a look at the figures up close. We have Jin on our left, featuring his trademark studded gloves. And then he does have the tattoo the mark of the fight of God, I think is what it's called, on the left shoulder. And the face, you know, it's Jin Kazama. These are nice action figure interpretations of the video game models. You know, they're not as hyper detailed in terms of the overall presentation, because of the in-game models, they're kind of a little bit photorealistic, but you know, you can't really duplicate that in terms of an action figure. But it's still very impressive. You know, nice clean printing on the back of the leather jacket. And keep in mind that these are action figures from the late 90s or early 2000s. So, you know, the articulation isn't as extreme as a modern action figure, but the overall presentation I still think holds up well. So yeah, these are the old action figures from way back in the day. And like I said, these are some of my favorite action figures in my collection, period. You know, I love these things so much. And if you're curious about how they scale next to a modern Tekken action figure, I do have the Bandai Namco Game Dimensions figure, King figure, on hand with me. There's also other Tekken figures produced by SH Figure Arts and Storm Collectibles, but the Game Dimensions line, I think, is really popular right now because of their affordability. And if you happen to also collect the Jada Toy Street Fighter figures, they go kind of well with them. So this gives you an idea of the size next to a modern Tekken figure. You know, these might be a little bit larger when compared to maybe the Game Dimensions Jin or Heihachi figure, but next to King, it seems pretty decent. So yeah, great action figure. If you could find these on the secondary market, and if they happen to be in great shape, pull the trigger on them. Some of these older fighting game figures from like Epoch and like I think Joyride and maybe Resaurus. You know, sometimes you'll find them, and especially loose, they might be kind of like banged up with like chipped paint and stuff. But if you can find these on the secondary market for a reasonable price, pull the trigger. You know, they're great display pieces. And for me, they're also a nice piece of video game history. Alright, so with that being said, let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.